Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers have more information about the seller and the business to help them make a buying decision. Just before we dive into the interview, let me give a brief summary of the business. Today's listing is an Amazon FBA business created in April 2019 in the occasions and gifts niche. The average monthly revenue for the business is $73,392, and it makes an average of $20,884 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are the Amazon Seller Central account with 141 SKUs, 2 domains, including all the site's contents and files, 2 trademarks, SOPs, supplier contracts and relationships, and social media accounts. Please note that inventory isn't normally included in the listing price, and further details can be provided to active unlockers. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 54641 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So that's a brief overview of the FBA business for sale. I've got the seller with me today, so let's hear from them. Welcome to the show, Jeffrey. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Vinny?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. It's really looking forward to talking about your business. Let's start this off then. Can you share with me what your background is in building or running online businesses?
This is actually my first online business. I haven't had any business background before, so I used to work in corporate. Yeah, this Amazon FBA business is really my first business, online or offline.
Okay, you saying in corporate, just you don't mind, can you share with me, what did you work as before you became an FBA seller?
So I have been a project manager for 10 years before I started selling on Amazon.
Gotcha. Okay. So share with me then, you went from the corporate lifestyle to becoming a fully fledged entrepreneur. How did you come up with the idea to start this business? Why FBA?
So I've always wanted to start my own business. And because my background was in the food industry, at first I thought I was going to start a food business. But then when I run through the numbers, it just didn't stack up. So you would work very long hours with barely any profit. And then as everyone who's not in a very good position, when you're kind of desperate, you start looking in the internet, how to make money online. And then I basically saw different opportunities like drop shipping, affiliate marketing, and Amazon FBA was one of them. And after reading through the information, to me, Amazon FBA sounds like it would fit me the most. It just makes sense to me.
That definitely makes sense. You can definitely go down a rabbit hole when you start looking at different opportunities to make money online. So it makes sense there. I've definitely been there before. So this business sells in the occasions and gifts niche. Can you share how you decided to choose this niche in particular?
I actually didn't start in this niche. So I was trying different niches like computer accessories and even supplements because I didn't know what to sell in the beginning. So I just kept testing different things as I was learning the Amazon game. And then as I was doing my product research, I saw that in this niche, the profit margin is actually pretty good. And there's a lot of ways you can differentiate yourself from your competitor. And as long as you have, a better offer or better value, you can actually sell your product at a higher price. So I thought, that's a pretty good opportunity. So I decided to go for it, and it has proven to be very successful.
Gotcha. It basically sounds like because of the margins sort of opportunity there for profit, that's kind of why you went into this niche.
Correct, yeah.
Makes sense. You've done really well to scale the business as you have done over just a little over 2 years. So our listeners will be wondering, why are you selling the business instead of staying with it and growing it?
I actually have 3 other Amazon FBA business. To me, it just makes sense to take some money off the table and invest it in other projects. Just because I don't want to be dependent 100% on Amazon for my income. I mean, this business has given me and my family really good income. But on the other hand, I think there are also other opportunities that I would like to explore.
For sure. Makes sense. I think it's always good to diversify your income streams. So makes sense. Let me just touch on your experience then. What did you learn from building this niche that you just felt really worked for you?
What worked really well in this niche is that how easy it is to scale up. And that's how I have been able to basically grow very, very quickly, because in the gifting niche, there are so many different ways you can differentiate the product through design. And therefore, I could work with the same supplier and yet have a lot of different SKUs. And it's really, really simple to also expand your offering to target different niches in the market.
Gotcha. Makes sense. What software or tools really helped you when you first started to try to grow the business or scale it? I mean, if there was any.
Yeah, so I used Jungle Scout for product research in the beginning, really just to look at the profit margin and look at the sales numbers, compare different competitors, and see how competitive the niche is. So that's what I use. And then I also use another PPC software that really saved my life, because I managed to cut down the amount of hours that I work on my PPC from around 5 hours a week to 5 minutes, pretty much. And that software is called Sponsor Profit. So yeah, those are the 2 softwares that I use the most.
For sure. I think Jungle Scout, popular choice among many sellers on our marketplace. And it's really good that you found a software that helps you with your PPC campaigns, because like you said, it can be a black hole. You can just spend so many hours down there without much ROI. You mentioned before about learning the Amazon game. Was there any resources that really helped you just skill up? It could be certain communities or YouTubers, or just anything like that were just great resources for Amazon FBA.
Yeah, so I'm actually still part of 2 different communities. One is the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs. I'm based in New Zealand, so basically I joined that because it's pretty close. And in the beginning, I wanted to dip my toes in the Australian Amazon market. So I joined them. And the second community that really helped me scale up was Team Real. And for other channels that I've been watching I watched Adam Heiss' YouTube channel, because he actually shared a lot of good information.
That's great. That's really valuable resources there. I think our listeners would really appreciate. You just shared just now what some of the strategies were that really helped you, to grow the business. Was there anything that you tried that wasn't giving you the ROI that you were hoping for? Yeah,
so I actually spread myself too thin last year. I basically tried to grow too quickly. Again, because I said it's actually really easy for me to grow my SKU list. So I ended up with too many SKUs that really complicate the business. So if I could do it again, I would actually concentrate on my main sellers and really try to keep them in stock all the time before actually expanding my product range too quickly.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You were sharing before, Jeffrey, that this is your first ever sort of online business, really, or foray into the arena. What advice would you give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started?
I think the main thing is just to stop procrastinating, because I did procrastinate a lot trying to find the perfect product. It's a lot better. Just dip your toes and just test it out, because without testing, you wouldn't actually know whether something worked or not. So even if your first attempt is not successful, at least you will learn a lot about how Amazon works, and that will give you a lot more confidence.
Yeah, that's some really solid advice. I think it's part and parcel of being an entrepreneur, right? Just making mistakes. And the important thing is not being afraid to do that so that you can learn the lessons about it, so rather than dwelling on the failures, realizing, okay, that didn't work, let's try another approach.
Exactly right.
Let's just move over to the marketing side of things. What do you currently do in terms of marketing for the business?
I mainly do Amazon PPC, and I occasionally do Google Ads only if I have enough stock during gifting seasons. Because if I'm too aggressive and basically, I sell too quickly, then I run out of stock, which is also something that I don't want.
I guess that makes sense. You need to try and manage the inventory flow as best as you can. Is the majority of the traffic coming from paid advertising, or is there an organic aspect as well?
At the moment, it's about 50-50. So 50% PPC and 50% organic.
Gotcha. Is that organic from the Amazon Marketplace, or is it external source?
Amazon Marketplace.
Gotcha. Okay. So you just described, about what you do in terms of marketing. Obviously, there's PPC and you use a software that helps you as well. Can you also describe what's the type of work that you do to maintain the business? It could be like on a day-to-day or even a weekly basis.
I actually don't spend a lot of time in this business. I also have a business partner working with me, and she does some of the work as well, but we really spend very little time on the business. What I do normally every day is that I spend 5 minutes making sure that I don't run out of budget on my PPC. And then twice a week, I would optimize the PPC campaigns using a software. And then once a month, I would look at the sales data, review it, analyze it, then make a plan to order products from my supplier. And what my business partner is doing is she would then place the order with the supplier, arrange inspection, arrange shipping, and then also now recently, because of Amazon's storage limitation, she has been also arranging shipping to a third-party warehouse. But yeah, it's between the two of us, we spend max 3 to 4 hours a week.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So really does sound like it's quite a hands-off business kind of at this point. So from the sounds of what you were saying there, the inventory doesn't ever touch your hands. It's basically outsourced to a 3PL service provider. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Actually, until probably in the past month or so, we never even use a third-party logistics provider. We have just been sending stock directly from supplier to FBA. But now that Amazon's gone really tight with the inventory limit, we had to ship some stock to a 3PL just to make sure that we will have enough stock for Christmas.
Okay, that's really useful to know. For a buyer who's interested in acquiring this business, but if they're not familiar with FBA or even the occasions and gifts niche, what would you say are some of the skills or requirements?
One thing that is very important is, of course, the Amazon platform itself, because there are a lot of terms and conditions and storage limitations just recently that Amazon introduced. So basically, the buyer will need to familiarize themselves pretty quickly to all those things. And secondly, it's really just to make sure that you enjoy this niche and you can actually think about, if you like gifting, basically, then it will be easy for you because you would know exactly who you want to gift this product to. And that would make it easier for you to expand the business in the future as well.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense for sure. I mean, if you were to stay with the business, Jeffrey, what would you say are some of the growth opportunities, some ways that you would explore if you wanted to expand it?
There are so many ways this business can grow. So one of them is, of course, to continue expanding the range, because it's the gifting niche. So basically there's no limitation to how much you can grow or how many niches you are willing to target. And because the MOQ is really low, it's 100 units per SKU. So it's really easy to test as well. So that's number one. Number two, the buyer could also decide to go into other markets. I've just been focusing on the US and Canada, but this niche would also have a really big potential in Europe. Yeah, if the buyer is willing to expand there.
No, that's great. There's definitely lots of avenues for growth here. What would you say are some of the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
At the moment, it's really the inventory limitation that is set by Amazon. Because it's the gifting niche, it sells really, really well over Christmas in Q4. So as Amazon is limiting the capacity, that means that you really need to be on top of your game with logistics and make sure that you have ample supply with a 3PL. So as soon as your stock is running low on FBA, you can replenish it, especially in Q4. It never used to be a problem. Last year, we had a lot of stock in FBA, but this year, we have to store a lot of stock in 3PL because of that.
Yeah, no, that's good to know for sure. Last few questions from me here, Jeffrey. How much support are you offering buyers?
I can give 30-day support via email, and also I can do up to weekly calls if needed via Zoom. And I'll be happy to do screen sharing and really guide the buyer through the whole process. And also my business partner will be very happy to introduce them with the supplier personally as well.
Great to hear. Are you willing to commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
And are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out?
Yeah, so obviously all the terms and conditions need to be discussed, but yeah, I'll be open to that.
Wonderful, yeah. Well, last question really from me then. If you put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why would you say that this is a business worth buying?
It's because the business has a tremendous potential for growth. So the business has been growing 400% year on year. And if I buy this business now, I could look into a multi-million-dollar business by next year.
That's great to hear for sure. Is there anything you'd like to share that you think I might have missed?
This business is doing pretty well all throughout the year, but especially in Q4, it really comes alive. So based on the last 2 years' data, basically October and November, sales doubled to the average. Then in December, sales basically quadrupled. So if the buyer buys this business now, they could be looking at a very handsome profit come Christmas time.
That's great. That's definitely worth bearing in mind. Jeffrey, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I really hope to see your FBA business get picked up by the right buyer in the very near future.
Thank you very much, Finney. It has been a pleasure as well chatting with you.
Great. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 54641. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.